So how big of an account do I really need to get started with day trading micro futures? Now, this is a question I get over and over again, and I think the best way to kind of explain it in detail is to show you guys a live trade example and break it down by contract and how much equity is required to get into a trade as such, and kind of show you guys how the NASDAQ futures really move. Now, again, I'm going to be only focused on the NASDAQ futures. Every futures contract is going to have different margin rates or different amount of equity required to get into that trade or into a contract. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is going to be only on the NASDAQ. Now, before we dive in, make sure you hit that like, leave a comment down below with any questions you might have, and also do subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. I do appreciate that. Now, there's a lot of perks to day trading micro futures or futures in general. There's no PDT rule. You have tax breaks, tax benefits. They trade 23 hours a day. They're highly leveraged. There's a lot of perks, right? You don't have to do any scans. You don't have to look for the hottest stocks. You don't have to see what's moving. You just focus on one stock or one chart in this example, and you kind of get familiar with it because you're trading it every single day. And I just love that aspect of it. But anyway, let's dive into it. So here on the screen, what you see is a live trade. I have it paused right now. And we are in 7 contracts. So our position is in this beige box, which is at $12,883, right? So you might think, oh my God, it's $12,000 times 7. That's so much money. But no, that's not how it works. So here we have 7 contracts, right? So how much is one contract in this trade? So these are the micro futures. These are the micro futures. So a micro futures is just 1/10 of a mini future. So a lot of times you hear about mini futures. These are the micro futures. So they trade exactly the same. It's the same chart. It's just a micro future is actually just 1/10 of a mini. So this was introduced in March of 2019. So it's brand new. And I think it's really cool because it lets you mitigate risk a lot more. And it doesn't require as much capital to get into trading and get your feet wet. Okay, versus with minis, if you get the trade wrong, the first trade, you could get blown out of the water really fast, especially on a volatile day. So you have to be careful. But anyway, with a micro contract, one contract, depending on what broker you go with, I'll go with the cheapest one that I know, and that is $50 to get into one contract, right? So with 7 contracts, it's only $350 in this trade. Now, it's different than stocks. If you buy $350 worth of a stock, if the stock goes to 0, you just lose all your money. Versus with futures, you see I'm up 350 right now, almost 334. That's almost 100%, and it has moved only a little bit. If this moved down below my entry, so it went against me that much, I would be down the same amount. So if I only had $350 account and I took this size of a trade, obviously the broker would sell me out. They're not going to let you take that big of a trade if it goes against you, right? So that's only what's required to take the trade. But if it goes against you, they'll sell you out because obviously you can't go negative. So you do have to keep that in mind. So what I would recommend, let's say if you have a $500 account, you would want to take 1 or 2 micro contracts, right? So that way it gives you some room to take a couple losses, take some drawdown before it goes your way. So don't over leverage yourself. But to be in this trade, the only requirement is $350 of equity. Now, I'll be selling some contracts here. So let's talk about how that works. Now we have 6 contracts. We're up $350 on those 6 contracts. So now we have only $300 worth of equity in this trade, right? We already sold 1 contract, and now we are up $340. That means we are up over 100% of the investment, right? We never go by percentages. Going by percentages is not for day traders, it's for investors. Because even if you trade stocks and you go by percentages, like a lot of people ask, like if you go on Twitter and some people flash like big P&L, people will ask, the first thing they ask is how much percentage is that? Like how much size did you trade? That has nothing to do with anything, because trading $100,000 worth of Apple versus $100,000 worth of AMC or $100,000 worth of Tesla, it's completely different. It's all about how much are you willing to risk on that trade versus how much you're willing to make, right? It's all it comes down to. It's not how much money you put into it, because if you buy $100,000 worth of Apple for a day trade, you're not risking $100,000, right? You're not even probably risking $1,000. You're probably risking like $200-300 because it doesn't move that much. But anyway, that, I'm just saying, don't look at percentages. I'm just showing you guys an example of how fast the NASDAQ futures really move and why they're so amazing, especially for small accounts. You could grow them really fast if you get the gist of it and you know what you're doing. And it's going to take some time. It's not going to be quick. But anyway, in this example right now, when we have it paused, so let's go a little bit further. Let's see if we could pause it. Let's pause it exactly at $30. Okay, right there. So our entry is 12,883 in the quarter, and now the price in the black box, which is the current price of the NASDAQ, is $12,913.25. Now, that is a 30-point gain that we have unrealized right now per contract. Now, what does that mean? So if we only had one contract, which would only cost us $50 to get in, so if you have a $200 account, you could take just one contract, right? And you would be up 30 points. What that means, you're up $60. And how does that work? Well, for every point that the NASDAQ moves, it's $2 of profit or loss. So that's for the micro contracts, okay? For mini, it's $20. But if you're up 30 points on a micro contract, you're really up $60 of P&L. So you have unrealized $60. And since we have 6 contracts, we multiply that by 6. And then we come down to $360 here, right? So again, the NASDAQ also moves in quarter increments. It does not move in penny increments, so it moves pretty quick. Sometimes we do see moves like $100 candle, 100-point candles, right? So this candle is from 75 here to like whatever the high is there. So that's almost like, 40 points. Sometimes we see a candle that's 100, 200 points and at the open, for example, right? So you do have to be careful. Sometimes the NASDAQ will move crazy, especially if it's like a volatile day or there's a lot of news or the market is kind of like pulling back or crashing. When things are crashing, things move a lot faster when they're going up versus when they're going up. When they're going up, it's more steady. The NASDAQ moves a lot less. It's more choppy versus now. Now the last couple of weeks has been the craziest time to trade NASDAQ and futures in general. But anyway, hopefully that kind of explains it to you guys. I'm not going to get into why I took this trade or not. And again, to show you guys amazing potential. Here we have 5 contracts left. We're up $468 on those 5 contracts. That is $250 of equity that we would need to get into those 5 contracts. I didn't sell it right there. Let's go into like right here. Still 5. So this is up 200% now. So we're up. These are 2-minute candles. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 minutes. We're up 200%. Now try to find a stock every single day that's going to give you this kind of returns. Even if you use leverage, it's going to be very hard. And with the futures, it's kind of common for this to happen. It's not easy to capture it and to be right because you could lose just as much. But at the same time, the opportunity is there. So you just got to get proficient and just get good at it. Yeah, and eventually we're going to get stopped out here. But this was a solid trade. I think I made like $600 on this trade. So that was really good. But anyway, I also passed a combine. So basically, you could get started trading futures for a little bit of money. If you want to get like a paper trading experience with emotions, because emotions are the biggest I think aspect of day trading, right? So when you do a simulator trading, a lot of times you don't get the emotional aspect of it. So tomorrow night I'm gonna post a video about this because tomorrow is gonna be my first live day trading this account. So basically I did this account here and I hit the target. It costed me $77. They refunded me that because once you pass, they do a refund with this specific combine, which I'll go into more detail tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm starting this account at 0 cost. It costed me 0 because they refunded me the money and now there's 0 risk to it. So it's a pretty cool way to kind of get your feet wet into trading futures as well. Versus with stocks, to be able to trade for a prop firm, you have to have a serious license and it's a lot more complicated than that to be able to trade someone else's money. Versus here with futures, they're not SEC regulated, they have their own regulation. Then it's much easier to kind of do this stuff legally in the US. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that video. We're coming down to 10 minutes. I want to cut it off. Again, hit that like, hit that subscribe, leave a comment down below for any suggestions of different topics. So that way I can have some motivation to make more videos in the future. Be safe out there. Trade well. And if you're brand new to day trading, I do suggest get started with trading futures versus stocks. It's just a lot more consistent. You have one trade one chart to look at, and you get to kind of get familiar with it on a daily basis, which is what I love. But anyway, guys, take care and have a great night.